Main character. Name. Me. Age. 27. Appearance. Long black hair. Expressive eyes, we can add more later. Background. Independent. Creative. Maybe a bit trusting and sensitive. Personality. Strong but conflicted. Learning to stand up for herself after betrayal. Chapter 1. The betrayal. The rain had started as a drizzle, soft and quiet, like the world didn't want to witness what I was about to see. I stood in front of my apartment door, umbrella dripping onto the tiled floor, heart thundering. My phone buzzed again, a message from Chet. I didn't need to read it, I already knew. There they were, my best friend Lena, laughing at something on his screen. The way he smiled at her, it wasn't the same smile he gave me. It was warmer, softer, filled with something I had thought belonged only to me. For a moment, I froze, unable to breathe. Betrayal isn't loud. It sneaks in quiet and sharp, and then rips through you like glass. I wanted to scream, to throw something, to demand answers, but the words wouldn't come. Instead, I turned, walking back into the rain, letting it soak my long black hair, letting it wash some of the shock off. I remembered all the little signs I had ignored, the late-night texts, the sudden disappearances, the way he avoided my eyes. I had trusted him. I had trusted both of them. And now, all that trust lay shattered at my feet. Mixed with rainwater and tears I refused to shed in front of them. Back in my apartment, I leaned against the door, letting it click shut behind me. I felt hollow, but underneath that emptiness, something stirred, a spark, faint but real. I wouldn't let this define me. I wouldn't let their betrayal make me small. Tonight, it hurt like fire, and tomorrow it would hurt too. But someday, they would see that I wasn't broken. They would see me rise from this. I closed my eyes, running my fingers through my wet hair. The rain outside tapped against the window like a drumbeat, steady and unrelenting, reminding me that life moved on, with or without permission, and I would move on too. Chapter 2. The cut. The next morning, the rain had stopped, leaving the city slick and gleaming. I stared at my reflection in the bathroom mirror, my long black hair still damp from yesterday's storm, still heavy with memories I wanted to shake off. It was time. Time to stop clinging to the past. Time to show myself, and the world, that I was no longer the same me who had trusted too easily. I grabbed my coat and walked to the nearest hair salon. The bell above the door chimed as I entered, and the scent of shampoo and hair dye was oddly comforting. I want a pixie cut, I told the stylist, my voice steadier than I felt. Chop it all off. I need change. The stylist smiled knowingly, as if she understood without needing an explanation. Scissors clicked and snipped, locks of black hair falling to the floor like dark rain. Each strand that dropped felt like a piece of the pain I had carried, the betrayal, the lies, the nights spent crying over someone who didn't deserve me. When the final snip came, I looked into the mirror and barely recognized myself. My sharp cheekbones, the curve of my jaw, the fierce determination in my eyes, it was all there. But stronger, freer. The long hair that had once defined me was gone, replaced by a pixie cut that felt like armor, like a promise to myself. You look amazing, the stylist said, smiling. But I didn't need her approval. I knew. I stepped out of the salon into the sunlight, feeling lighter than I had in months. The world hadn't changed, but I had. And for the first time since the betrayal, I felt like I could breathe. This was just the beginning. Chapter 3. The call. That evening, I sat on my apartment couch, my fingers tracing the short strands of my pixie cut. It was strange how something as simple as hair could feel like armor. But tonight, I wanted more than armor, I wanted answers. My thumb hovered over my phone, trembling. I hadn't spoken to my father in years, not since my mother died, and he vanished from my life, leaving only silence. I had believed for so long that he didn't care, that he had never loved me, or maybe that my mother had kept me from him, obsessed with building her empire. But tonight, something inside me refused to stay silent. Tonight, I wanted to see the world he had built, the man who had all the power and wealth I had only ever heard about. Maybe he could help me, or maybe I just needed to hear his voice. I dialed the number I had memorized long ago, the one I had hidden in a drawer like a forbidden secret. The line rang, each tone echoing in my chest like a warning. Hello? A deep voice answered. Calm, controlled, powerful. Dad, I said, my voice barely above a whisper. It's me. There was a pause. I could almost hear him calculating, weighing his words. Me, he said finally, his tone unreadable. It's been a long time. I know, I said. I need your help. I need to understand everything. And maybe I need you to see me, really see me. The line was silent for a moment longer. Then he said, come to my office tomorrow, and be ready for the truth. It might not be what you expect. I hung up, heart hammering. My father, the man of the world, the one I had believed had never loved me. He wanted to see me. For the first time in years, I felt a flicker of hope. And maybe, just maybe, this was the step I needed to reclaim my life. Chapter 4. The meeting. The next morning, I took a deep breath before stepping into the sleek, glass-fronted building where my father ruled his empire. My pixie cut made me feel fierce, ready for whatever awaited inside. The elevator ride felt endless, each floor climbing closer to the man I had believed abandoned me. When the doors opened, he was there, waiting in his office. Older than I remembered, but still commanding, still unmistakably him. His eyes softened the moment he saw me. Me, he said, standing to meet me halfway. You look different. Stronger. I swallowed hard, emotions swirling. Dad, I've always wondered why you left. Why you never remarried. Why you weren't there for me after Mom. My voice cracked. He held up a hand. Listen to me carefully, me. I left because your mother, she didn't want me involved in our lives. She was determined to build her business empire, and she believed I would be a distraction. I never stopped loving you. Not for a second. Every decision I made was trying to protect you in the only way I could. Tears pricked my eyes. All this time, I had blamed him. Imagine him as cold and uncaring, while my mother forced me into a life I didn't choose. And yet, here he was, telling me the truth I had never heard. I don't know what to say, I whispered. You don't need to say anything, he replied gently. Just know this. Me, you are my daughter. I have always loved you, and I will always be here for you now. You're stronger than you realize, and it's time you start believing in yourself too. For the first time in years, I felt seen. Really seen. Not as the betrayed girlfriend, not as the obedient daughter, but as me. And in that moment, I realized my journey wasn't just about betrayal, or heartbreak, or my mother's shadow. It was about reclaiming my life, my identity, and stepping into the person I was always meant to be. Chapter 5. The letter. After a long silence in his office, my father finally spoke again. His voice was softer now, almost hesitant. Me, there's something else, he said, reaching into a drawer and pulling out a neatly sealed envelope. It's from your mother. She left it in her will. You've never seen it before, but she wanted you to have it. I took the envelope with trembling hands. The paper felt heavy, as if it carried the weight of years I'd lost. My heart pounded. Part of me wanted to throw it away, to never open it. Another part, maybe the braver part, needed to know the truth. Read it when you're ready, my father said, his eyes never leaving mine. It might change the way you see her, and yourself. Alone in his office, I carefully broke the seal. Inside was a letter, written in my mother's familiar, precise handwriting. Me, my daughter, if you are reading this, then I am gone. I know you may never understand why I did the things I did, why I pushed you, why I built my business with such obsession. I want you to know, it was never because I didn't love you. I loved you more than anything. But I was trapped in a world I could not escape. And I feared I would fail you if I let anything else in. Your father loved you always. I know it may seem like he abandoned you, but he didn't. He stayed away to keep you safe from my mistakes. I hope one day you can forgive me for the life I forced upon you. You are stronger than I ever was, and I hope you will live the life I could never give you. All my love. Mom! I sank into the chair, clutching the letter to my chest. 1,000 emotions collided: anger, grief, sorrow, and a strange sense of relief. She hadn't hated me. She hadn't kept my father from me out of malice. She had been trapped. Tears ran down my cheeks, but they were different now, lighter, less bitter. This letter didn't erase the pain, but it gave me something I hadn't had in years: understanding. And somewhere deep inside, A seed of resolve began to grow. I would honor her in my own way. I would rise, not for my mother, not for my father, but for myself. Chapter 6. Inheritance of Power. I held the letter from my mother in one hand, still trembling, when my father leaned back in his chair, his expression serious but proud. "Me," he said, "there's something you need to know. Along with this letter, your mother left you something else. Something bigger." I blinked, unsure if I had heard him right. "All of her company, every asset, every share worth nearly 200 billion is now in your name. She wanted you to have it, to take what she built and make it your own," he continued. "And that's not all." My heart raced. "I'm giving you my company as well," he said, his eyes softening. "Everything I've built 50 billion is also yours. Me, you are now one of the most powerful people in the world. Not because of me or your mother, but because of who you are." I couldn't speak. Two words kept echoing in my mind. 200 billion, 500 billion. My entire life had felt small, trapped by betrayal, heartbreak, and the shadows of my parents' choices. And now, suddenly, it wasn't. You're serious?" I finally whispered. "As serious as the world itself," he replied. "But with this power comes responsibility. You can let it control you, or you can use it to reshape your life, to take the revenge, the justice, or the freedom you deserve." I closed my eyes, letting the weight of it sink in. This wasn't just money. It wasn't just power. It was my chance to rise above the pain, the betrayal, the mistakes of the past. For the first time, I felt unstoppable. The girl who had cried over a cheating boyfriend, who had believed her mother never loved her, who had felt abandoned and small, that girl was gone. In her place was me, strong, fierce, unstoppable, and I knew exactly what I was going to do next.